and Lauren?
Hi, yeah, my name's Lauren. I'm in my second year of a primary education degree with qualified teacher status at the end of it. I'm from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and my favourite part of university is probably getting to go on placement and actually getting some hands-on experience with the career that I want at the end.
That's great. Thanks so much, both. So Anna and Lauren are here today to answer any questions that you might have at all. And we're really keen for you to find out specifically what you would like from today's session. So there's a couple of things that we've kind of prepared that we are happy to talk through, but we would love you to send in any questions that you would like to know. So there is the Q&A and you can use that to send your questions in. So there's a couple of topics on here that we're going to talk through today. And if you would like to know about any of those topics, or you'd like to know about anything else at all, send your questions in. We might not answer it at exactly the time it comes through. If it fits into a certain topic, we might wait and see kind of where we get to when we get to that topic. But please do send your questions, because we're really keen that we're just not talking about what we think is important, but actually we're talking about what you want to know. So the first thing I wanted to say is that university experience is not just about your degree course. So obviously that is the main reason why you go to university. It's a really important part, and you're going to get a degree so that you can get access to lots of specialised graduate jobs. So that's really important. But actually there are lots of different things that make up your personal university experience. So some of it comes down to what kind of university you choose, whereabouts you are, what the location is like. Some of it comes down to what that university campus is like. So what sort of facilities can you use and can you access while you're there? Obviously, your accommodation is a really big part. So for some of you, that might be staying at home, but some of you might want to go and live at the university. So that really kind of makes up what your student experience is going to be like. And then you've got lots of things that you can get involved with outside of your degree. So it might be clubs and societies, it might be extra opportunities that you can do while you're at university. And then you've also got the support that's available to you. So there'll be student support at every university, and that kind of makes up your experience and your time at university as well. So we're going to talk through all of those things today, but as I say, any questions that you'd like to know, just let us know and we can incorporate them into the session too. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is your degree course. And obviously everyone's experience at university will be quite different depending on what it is that you're going to be studying. So for some of you, you might have more time, what we call taught time, where you're going to be in lectures or in workshops or in practicals. And some of you might have less taught time. It all depends on what kind of subject you're doing. Also, the way that you're learning is going to be different. So some of you could be in labs, some of you might be in what we call seminars where you're discussing ideas, or you might be in lectures where it's a bit more about listening and taking in new information. So it really does differ for everybody. And this is where we're going to talk to our student guides and find out a little bit more about how it works for them. And what we'll see is that their courses are actually quite different as well. So that'll give you a bit of an idea about two different subject areas. So maybe if we come to yourself first, Lauren, could you tell us a little bit about how your course is structured? So how do you actually spend your learning time?
Yeah, sure. So we are in 4 days a week, and prior to the pandemic, things have changed obviously a little bit because of that. But prior to that, it would have been about 20 hours a week contact time with tutors, and that's split into lectures and seminars. We have a year lecture once a week, and then you're split into kind of group classes of about 30 for your seminar lessons. We don't pick our own modules. You do your core subjects for primary education, and then what you do have the option to select is a major specialism and a minor specialism. And there are different, they do like a subject fair essentially midway through the first semester, to give you insight into all the different subjects then that are on offer.
Perfect, thank you, Lauren, that's really helpful. And Anna, I imagine your subject's a bit different because you might have some lab-based time, so maybe we could hear a bit about how that works.
Yes, so I'm doing food science degree. It's relatively a small course because it's brand new. It started when my first year, so about 2 years ago, but they have us join in with people who are doing genetics, biology, so you do get to interact with other people. So it's about a group of 40 For first years, we all have like sort of structured similarly, like Lauren said, courses, lectures and seminars, but we do have obviously lab time for first years. Everybody, even whether you're doing genetics or biotech, we do have, for example, a trip to Cyprus. Now, obviously, that has changed due to the pandemic, excuse me, but hopefully that could get running back up. So that's a really fun thing I like to mention, because you get to interact, not only go to another country, but get to meet your fellow student, peers, and then as well, they have us doing a lot of practice-based lab work. We get to be around fields in Cyprus. Then they teach you how to do research papers and stuff like that. So that's a good activity that the biology department has for its students. And then obviously for second, third year, it's again a lot of seminars, lectures, and as you go on for your dissertation. Sadly, this year we were not allowed to be in the lab, but that's basically the contact hours start to kind of go down. So first year, you're more in contact with your teachers. You have your lectures, and then obviously they tell you, I'm there available for anything. They're very great on that, responding to emails, but you have to put in a lot of personal time, be in the lab on your own, kind of just preparing you for obviously work once you graduate. So that's kind of how it's structured in the biology department.
Great, thank you both. So hopefully you can see already that Anna and kind of Lauren's experience at university is very different in terms of their subject and what they're doing in their taught time. And you might have heard Anna mention a dissertation just there, and that is basically quite a large extended project that a lot of students will do in their final year. So lots of research, lots of reading around their subject, and then putting it all together into a project. So I'm conscious that we've got quite a bit to talk through today, so we won't talk too much more about degree courses, but if you do have questions about how a course might work or how it might be structured, just send them in to us and we can always come back to those at the end. So what we're going to have a little talk about now is some other topics. So a little bit more about your university experience in terms of where you're going to go, what your location's going to be like, and things like that. And that is very different depending on whether you choose to go to what we call a campus uni, and that means that everything is all in one place. So for example, at Edgehill, things like your accommodation, the library, all your teaching and learning facilities, the sports centre, it's all in one single place. Whereas a city university is spread out across a city. So it might be that you're kind of travelling between different buildings to go from one lecture to the next, or back to your accommodation or something like that. And this is a really important decision for you personally to make. So each of you will have your own preferences, and it's really important that you decide what is going to be right for you between a campus and a city. But we'll give you some info, and hopefully that'll help you understand a little bit more about what they can be like. So perhaps, Lauren, we could come to yourself again first. And can you tell us a little bit about why you thought that a campus uni was right for yourself?
I chose a campus university because I was very conscious that I was moving away from home, and I was moving to a new city in a new country. And I just thought that it would make settling in a lot easier if all the things that I was going to need immediately for study were kind of on my doorstep, that everybody, you were immediately part of like a little community, where I could meet people who were in the same position as me, and that part was easy to navigate. So then when it came to venturing off, I could do that at a slightly slower pace and become more comfortable with things.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Lauren. So if you're similar to Lauren and perhaps you're looking for something where you feel quite supported, quite safe, and if you're going somewhere that's quite new, perhaps you're a little bit worried about it, it might be that a campus uni could suit you. But Anna, I know you spent some time at a city university as well as a campus uni. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you think are some of the positive aspects of being at a city university.
Well, I completely agree with Lauren, how she said that the campus university makes you kind of like feel at home, community. But for my first year, I was doing a course in Spain, and I was on a city-based university, and I was doing a science degree as well. And they don't have accommodation, at least my university. So I was living right next to my faculty. So they do have faculty sort of like at Chill, but they are spread out all across the university. So I was living next to it. So there was not a long commute or anything like that. But you do, an upside is that, I mean, you're in a city, there's a lot of activities. You meet new people, but it's kind of like it is spread out. So if you're only doing a science course, you kind of just see science people. So that was kind of like pros and cons, as well. I think just more experiences. Maybe some people can say like in a campus, it's quite smaller, so maybe it can be a little bit tiresome, I guess. But I feel like Edgehill, like it's right next to Liverpool, so it's kind of like best of both worlds. But definitely, City University, a lot bigger, more activities to do, and I think, yeah, that's sort of like
Perfect.
pros and cons.
Thank you. Yeah, great. I think hopefully that gives everyone a good idea about some of the things to think about when you're trying to choose between a city and a campus. And I think our key advice here would be try and visit the universities if you can do. So I know at the moment things are a little bit different, and it might be that you can't get to open days or you haven't been able to recently, but fingers crossed soon you can get out and get back on campus again. And even in the meantime, there are loads of fantastic things like virtual tours of the actual campus. Even if it's a city university, you can often go inside buildings virtually and have a look round. So try and do that, because a lot of it is just how you feel. So when you get to that university, you'll probably know whether you think it's the right one for you or not. So try and keep looking and visiting and doing that research. We're going to have a little chat now about facilities. So universities have lots of great facilities available, and these are changing all the time. So my key advice would be to try and find out not just what's there currently, but what have the university got in the pipeline that they are building or renovating. It might be a facility for your course, it could be brand new accommodation, it could be a facility that you'll use if you have a hobby, like say things like performing arts or sports. It could be something for social events. So try and find out what is there and what is available. And we'll just talk about this one quite briefly, because it is very, very different everywhere you go. So Lauren, I'll just ask yourself for this one, and then Anna will come to you on the next topic. But perhaps you can tell us, Lauren, something that you use as a facility at university that you find really useful.
For me, I loved the welcome fair that the university put on, because it just introduced you to the wide range of societies that there are on campus. When they say there's something for every interest, they mean it. There's a lot of different sports, there's performing arts, there's dance, and then there are things that I was really interested in. So there's a Harry Potter society, and just things that where you meet people where you have that one little thing in common that you kind of geek out over, and it starts a conversation, which I found was the hardest part, was knowing what to say to people beyond, hey, how are you? It gave you an in to talk to people, and then from that I formed some really lasting friendships.
Great, perfect. Thanks so much, Lauren. So try and do a little bit of research about what sort of facilities the university has, because especially for your course, that's going to impact your teaching and learning, whether you're able to use things like the crime house you can see here, or our clinical skills building. Lots of universities will have those sort of facilities. So do a bit of research, because you'll know how you learn best and what you want to use to help you to learn as well. So accommodation, always a really big topic for students, and we get loads of questions in relation to accommodation. And you've got a choice to make initially. Some of you in the Northwest might want to stay in the Northwest. Some of you might want to go much further afield. But your first choice, if you are choosing a close university, is do you want to stay at home and commute, or do you want to move away? So both of our student guides have obviously moved away, but for any of you who are thinking about staying at home and commuting, please don't feel like you'll have a reduced university experience. So specifically at Edgehill, we actually have quite a big proportion of students who live at home and commute in each day. And I would say that they still get that whole university experience. It's just important that they take part in things like clubs and societies, like what Lauren was mentioning, and that means they can still meet loads of people. You also save a bit of money if you're going to live at home because you're not paying for your accommodation. And obviously, if you're making that transition to uni, it means you've got that kind of familiarity that you're living in the same place as well. But of course, you might want to move away, even if you're nice and close by, and you might want to kind of get to know people that way as well. So we're going to talk a little bit more about moving away and what sort of things you might want to think about with your accommodation. So you've got loads of choice, and this will be the case at lots of universities. You can pick between an ensuite bathroom, a shared bathroom, catered or self-catered, and you can either live on campus or you can choose to go and live in what we call private accommodation. So perhaps a rented house or perhaps a privately owned accommodation block as well. So we're going to chat to our student guide. So Anna, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your experience in accommodation. I know that you've lived in private housing rather than student halls.
Yes, so from starting from my first year, I've been living in accommodation outside of the campus. So it's a little bit further away from the university. And so I believe that aspect of convenience of maybe having to wake up a little like half an hour before just so you can walk to the university. That's been my only con, but it's been great. You do meet maybe people from different degrees. So I've had a good experience with my roommates. And I think like you were mentioning that they do not miss out, like even if you live at home on or on campus, you do not miss out because maybe you do have to put in a little bit more effort to like I said, wake up and go to the university, but definitely there's the welcome fairs, the SU activities, and so I've had a good experience with living outside of campus. My peers have told me that like on campus as well, you I guess meet people from your degree, and maybe it's a little bit more convenient because you don't have to wake up earlier, stuff like that. But I haven't found it as a kind of handicap or anything. So it's been quite a good experience.
Great, thanks so much, Anna. So that's one option. You can live in private housing like Anna has mentioned, but lots of universities do have what we call accommodation guarantees. So that means that sometimes they'll guarantee accommodation. So for example, at Edge Hill, if you apply by a certain deadline and Edge Hill is your firm choice, your accommodation is guaranteed for your first year. And that's very similar for a large number of universities. So it might be that actually you're in campus kind of university owned accommodation. And that is what Lauren has done. So Lauren, I think you were self-catered and you were en suite, but what sort of things do you think that students should consider when they're trying to pick between catered, self-catered, en suite, shared bathroom, etc.?
I think one of the things I did was recommended to me by a student who had just graduated, and the choices can be quite overwhelming, especially if it's your first time moving out. So what was suggested to me was to make a list, like a short 5-point list of the things that were the most important to me, things that I really thought I needed. So was an ensuite bathroom really important? And to kind of make that list before I looked at the accommodation options, because then if you decide that, no, I definitely want an ensuite bathroom, you can rule out some options immediately. And it just made making that choice much easier. It narrowed it down a little bit.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Thank you so much for that, Lauren. So hopefully that gives you a couple of things to start thinking about for your own university experience and where you're going to live. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do in addition to your degree course. There are loads of things that you can get involved with. And Lauren's obviously mentioned already things like the clubs and societies, the Harry Potter Society. There are loads of events going on that can help you to meet people. Anna, I know that you've got involved in a couple of other things that have helped you to kind of make friends and meet new people. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what those are.
Hi guys, sorry just to interrupt. You've got about 5 minutes left.
Perfect, thanks for that, Jack.
Well, there's loads of stuff because I believe the Edge was great at kind of including students after, you know, the transition from into university. I was fortunate enough to be part of, a friend had mentioned that he was being an sort of international ambassador. So basically those were people who helped the international office help transition the students who were doing Erasmus or international exchange to our university, help them, you know, settle in the university, kind of gather and meet people from the university, but as well the ones that were also doing the exchange program. We picked them up from the airport, like we were sort of like their kind of friends, but like connectors to the university. So it was a great way to meet people from different countries. I have always lived in the United States, but when I moved to England, like I was a little bit kind of having a hard time like making friends. So I guess that allows you to see different cultures and kind of settle into your place in university, making that a lot easier. So that was a good experience. I'm actually still doing it for since second year. So it's been great having that opportunity.
Thanks, Anna. So as you can see, because Anna is an international student, that's something that she can get involved with and welcoming and supporting other international students. But there's lots of stuff depending on your own interests, your own situation that you can choose to get stuck in with. And all of those things will help you meet people. So please don't worry, everyone's in the same boat and everyone's looking to make new friends. So there are loads of ways you can meet new people. A quick note on scholarships, which I think does kind of contribute towards a university experience. Just be aware that you can apply for extra funding, and one of those ways you can do that is something called a Student Opportunity Fund, and different universities will name it different things. But it's a sum of money you can get to enhance your employability. So you can use that in any way that is going to help you gain extra skills. So we've had students who've gone and performed on Broadway in New York with the Student Opportunity Fund money, and that obviously enhances their skill set to go off into careers in performance, for example. So just be aware about those sort of things. You will have to actively apply yourself, but it really does enhance your experience. And it also enhances your employability, and there's other ways you can do that too. I'm not going to talk through all of them because we're quite tight for time, but think about what is important to you. So is it study abroad? Is it things like doing a placement year? Is it things like doing a sandwich year? Things like that. So there are lots of things to be aware about. You can learn a language at most universities as well. So loads of universities will offer all of these different opportunities. And it might be as well that you want to do things like have a part-time job if you feel that you're going to need kind of extra support coming in financially as well. So what we'll do is we'll just finish up by talking about some of the types of student support that are available to you. And again, this is available across the board at all different universities. So if you're worried about anything in particular, there are loads of people that can help you when you go off to university. We've just had a question come through, so if you've got any final questions as well, please do send them in because we're really keen to get you those answers before the end. And that question is, how many clubs and societies do we have at Edgehill? Which is a great question. So we have at Edgehill about 60 different clubs and societies. Different universities might have more or less, but you can also start your own club and society as well. So if you're really interested in something and you're really passionate about it, as long as you can find, I think it's 2 other people who are interested as well, then the student union can help you set up your own club and society. So that's always worth knowing as well. I think we'll start to bring the session to a close. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about all the things that you can get involved with. So university really is what you make of it. It's not just studying a subject that you're really passionate about. It's all about enhancing employability, making friends, gaining new skills, and also learning to be really independent and get involved with things that you've never been involved with before. So it really is a really memorable few years of your life, and you get out of it exactly what you put in it, I think would be our key advice. So thanks so much, Lauren and Anna. It was really useful to hear your kind of perspective as students. And if you have any final questions, do send them through. But I think we'll look at bringing it to a close there. Thanks, Jack.
Great, thank you guys. Really appreciate the session. And if you have got some questions, then you can head to the exhibit hall and speak to the Edgehill team in their booth in the exhibit hall. They'll be happy to answer any questions that you've got there as well. And you can go and check out any of the other partners there as well. So I'm going to wrap the session up there. Thank you very much. And yeah, go and check out the exhibit hall if you've got any other questions. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.